What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and throughout the past several hours, we have had all this information come out about the Rise of Skywalker novelization, and all of the additional information we're getting from it. Obviously, the big one is what I did a stream on today. What Star Wars Theories put a video out this morning, which really started off this roller coaster, and that's the fact that in this novelization, they state that Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker is a clone. They have literally ripped off exactly Dark Empire. But I speculated, and I still believe that that is not the case. That they have made that up. They have retconned that because of all the complaining they have heard people do about what it does to Anakin's legacy and to the Skywalker saga if they don't. But before we get too deep into that, I want to go over something else as well. A lot of other things that have been coming out have specifically been the Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, Rey part for all the Reylos out there. You can see right here this post from the Rise of Skywalker novel. Ben Solo will always be with Rey, and he is alive with the Force. Now, we're gonna read over this. This describes how Ben resurrects Rey and their interactions. And I can't believe we're gonna get to the end. Everybody can be one with the Force, evidently, in this Star Wars. No special training required. I don't know why it was lost for so long. So let me read some of this to you guys. I was gonna read the whole thing in some sort of dramatized voice, but that would be a little too much, I think, for everybody involved. But you can see here, Ben poured everything into her. Gross. He found reservoirs he didn't know he had. He gave her his whole self. And then she comes back to life. Okay. They stared at each other for a moment. He waited for her to understand what had just happened. It would be okay if she left him behind now. Got on with her life without a backward glance at him. It's what she should do. This is like Twilight. This is what Star Wars is now. That was who they were pandering to. That is who they got. That is what this is. This is Twilight. Congratulations, Lucasfilm. She was glad to see him, glad to be with him in this moment. It was the greatest gift she could have given him. The kiss. Then the kiss happens. Oh my gosh. But then she drew back, concern on her face. She could feel him growing cold. Ben smiled at her. He had given Rey back to the galaxy. It wouldn't atone for the darkness he'd wrought, but it was what he could do. Ben Solo had no regrets as he collapsed to the ground. The Force reached for him in welcome. His final awareness was of Rey clasping his hand with her own. And then Rey talks about, it feels like half of her's missing. And let's blow up this final page. The girl who had felt alone for all those years on Jakku had been part of a dyad the whole time. And just when she discovered the precious connection, that incredible oneness, it was ripped away. A voice came to her through the Force. Immediately, he's one with the Force. Clear and strong. I will always be with you, Ben said. She smiled. Let the truth of it wash over her. No one's ever really gone, she whispered. She retrieved her lightsabers and sprinted from the ruined cathedral. So there you have it. That is Ben Solo becoming one with the Force, and he's just so happy. You know, he might be dead, but at least the galaxy has Rey. At least they have Rey. So cringe, man. But I'm sure a lot of people like this are really enjoying it and liking it and feel like it adds more weight to the Reylo aspect than what they got in the Rise of Skywalker. Now, obviously, the big thing, like we talked about earlier today, the Emperor lives using a clone body. For those of you that didn't get it, I will read over this. We're zoomed in pretty close right now. I will read over this. This is what came out a while ago. Got sent to Star Wars Theory. He did a video on it and it blew up. All the vials were empty of liquid save one. Now this is in the beginning of the movie/book, which was nearly depleted. Kylo peered closer. He'd seen this apparatus before too when he'd studied the Clone Wars as a boy. The liquid flowing in the living nightmare before him was fighting a losing battle to sustain the Emperor's putrid flesh. What could you give me? Kylo asked. Emperor Palpatine lived after a fashion, and Kylo could feel in his very bones that this clone body sheltered the Emperor's actual spirit. It was an imperfect vessel, though, unable to contain his tremendous power. It couldn't last much longer. Everything, Palpatine said. A new empire. And they go on from there. But there you have it, the important part. You could feel it in his very bones that this clone body sheltered the Emperor's actual spirit. He's a clone. That is what they're coming out and saying. And let's be real, guys. He's not a clone in this movie. They would have told us before. J.J. Abrams would have said something about it. Why? Well, if he could just transfer to a clone body, why would he not just transfer again to another one? What's preventing him? Why is this body decaying? Why is he in this body? Couldn't he just transfer over to another one if it was a clone? That's what they did in the story that you ripped this off from. The legend story that you ripped this straight from the pages almost. And still weren't able to capture any of the actual heart of it. Dark Empire, Palpatine would transfer from clone to clone. Because that was the point. That's the point of having a clone body to transfer into. So why couldn't he just do that with all the Sith Eternal there to help him out? All those people to do the ritual if that's what it really was. Because it doesn't make any sense because that's not what happened. Why, when Palpatine is restored, when he siphons the life force and is restored and his body is restored, does he still have his injuries that he got in the prequels? Why is his face still all messed up? Why is his face still all messed up? It's a new body. He wouldn't have that. It would be his original, unaltered body, basically. Because he's not a clone. This is a lie. This is a retcon. This is a retcon, and we should all be seeing it for what it is. We know that this is not the plan, or they would have said something about this. But they have heard all of us saying for weeks, how much better it would be if they had done Dark Empire. If Palpatine had been a clone, at least then you could justify something, that he had actually been killed, that Anakin had actually fulfilled some sort of prophecy. So many of us have been saying that, and I think they heard that and they put this in here. I haven't seen anything else about clones so far in the leaks from the Rise of Skywalker novel. Maybe this is the only mention. These couple little paragraphs. I think they put that in there because they think it's vague enough that they could get away with it. Obviously, that apparatus he's connecting to is like a life support device that's keeping him alive. It has nothing to do with cloning. This is so stupid, and if anybody actually falls for this, I feel bad for you. There's some people I see saying that they think this is like, oh, now the Rise of Skywalker makes so much more sense to me. Okay, bro. That movie, he's not a clone. J.J. Abrams, Chris Terrio, one of these guys would have said it along the way when they were getting flack for weeks about it. But believe what you want. Believe this. If you think this is true, if you think this is real, then go ahead. Either way, they have completely ripped off Legends again. They've completely ripped off the expanded universe. We've talked about the similarities in the stories before. One of the only main differences was he wasn't a clone. But if he is a clone, what's to prevent his spirit from not inhabiting another clone, from them doing the exact same thing over and over again? Are we going to have another sequel trilogy in 10 or 20 years where they do this all over again? It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's just me. Oh, and his fingers too. His fingers are messed up. Not because he's a clone and his body's getting old, but because of the Force lightning right before he died. That's where he got those injuries from. Like, you can't just ignore that. Some people are going to fall for this stupid retcon. I don't think most people will. I hope most people don't fall for this garbage that you're trying to pull, Lucasfilm, to try to get people to buy this book and explain away the garbage that was Episode 9. But let me know in the comments below what you think. If you believe them, if you believe this retcon, what are your thoughts? Or if you think they're just doing damage control at this point. Either way, what do you think of them completely ripping off the expanding universe, not even pretending to do anything different? Let me know in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video out there, ring the bell for notifications, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.